Regarding JT Tuimoloau, I think that's the I don't know if it's the best individual performance we've ever seen, because we've seen some good ones over the last few years. Jackson Smith and Jigba and CJ Stroud both in the Rose Bowl, Trey Sermon in the Big Ten championship game, Chase Young's 4 sacks against Wisconsin. But what JT Tuimoloau did that was special is every single play was huge. It was a huge impact. It wasn't just a second down sack or whatever that in Wisconsin, like Chase Young sacks. I don't know what downs they all came on, but JT Tuimoloau was doing something. He created 4 turnovers and scored on one of them. And the plays that he made, the way he made them, getting those interceptions, the sacks when they came, it's just the impact overall. I don't think Ohio State has ever seen that before defensively. You can argue offensively with the guys I mentioned, but that was by the end of it, it was almost comical. Like the pick six was just like, that's just the cherry on top. Of course that happens. You never see, you hardly ever see that happen. And then for him to just snatch the ball out of the air and run, it's like, well, that makes all the sense in the world, because I've seen an incredible performance to this point, and here he comes out for the encore and he plays his big hit.
Yeah, it's like that song that they like to dance to, like a thief in the night, before the games and everything. That's what Ohio State was. They were a thief in the night. This game was trending toward Penn State. It was 21-16 with just under 9 minutes to go. Ohio State got the ball back, and Stroud hit 2 passes to Harrison, like 19 yards, and moved him down into Penn State territory. And then they hit him with the run, which hadn't worked the entire day. And they caught him off guard with that. They were on their heels and weren't expecting that. We're thinking, oh, they're just going to keep throwing it down the field. And whoop, there goes Henderson through this huge hole over the left side, and he's gone for the touchdown. And then JT Tuimoloau creates the fumble, knocks the ball away and recovers it himself. They throw the touchdown pass to Cade Stover, who refused, to go down, would not be denied, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, bouncing off people. And they went from down 5 to up 9 in a span of about 45 or 50 seconds on the clock. And I think it was a shockwave that kind of went through Beaver Stadium there. And it became, it went from the loudest place on the Eastern Seaboard to, quiet as a church at midnight. Basically, there just was just nothing going on there. And in fact, a few minutes later, the fans were gone. They picked up and moved on back to the tailgate. So, to me, that was impressive for Ohio State, that in the fourth quarter, after battling, dead even for 3 hours, in the final half hour, Ohio State had the stamina to pull through and win that game and make those plays. And it was JT Tuimoloau with the cherry on top with that pick six at the very, very end to finally tell them, drive safely. Thanks for coming today. The next home game's in a couple weeks against nobody, and nobody cares because you got 2 losses and you're out of it. Sorry. So it was not a whiteout. It was a stripe out. And, as always, you got smoked. And, I don't know. Penn State is a good team, and maybe they'll win out. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But to me, to go in there and one of the toughest places to play in the country and to come out of there with that type of a win, to me, that says a lot. This team grew up quite a bit. And those are the kind of wins like they had in 2014, where they had to win in double overtime there, that you have to have along the way to build that character. So when the chips are down against Alabama, the chips are down against Georgia or Tennessee, whoever you may play later on, that that you've been in this tough situation before, and you were able to come through. And to me, it was interesting that the highest ranked player on the field was the one who stood the tallest. I don't think anybody had anybody ranked number 1 or number 2 overall nationally, did they, on the field? I think Tuimoloau was in the top 2 or 3 nationally in his class. And lo and behold, the cream rose to the top, and he had the kind of game I think people have been waiting on him to have since he came on campus a little over a year ago.
Tuimoloau was interviewed on the Big Ten Network on Monday, and Dave Revson was leading into the segment, and it was like he was kind of phonetically going through the pronunciation. And then he even said on the air, he goes, I guess I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce his name. And I thought, I know you're not a recruiting guy, Dave, and I've got all the respect for Dave Revson. I'm like, have you been paying attention to college football the last couple of years? That's why we were all on alert when he was announcing his decision. That's who this guy is.
Well, I mean, just wait until Paula-Ie Naote has to play a bigger role or something else. Then heads will really explode.
But that was what all the hoopla was about when he was making his college decision.
And now everybody understands exactly why. And he was worth all of the time at the airport. He was worth all of the mailers and all of that stuff. And now the expectations are going to be ramped up even more. And if he only finishes with 2 interceptions this season, like what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I did some research. The last time an Ohio State defensive end had 2 interceptions in one season was Mike Vrabel in 1995, and they were in separate games. I'm not sure when or if a defensive end has had 2 interceptions in one game for Ohio State. And somebody way back when, I think Jim Marshall may have had a couple touchdowns on defense, but that would have been in the late 50s. If that's even the case, I don't know. But and whether or not he was a, quote, defensive end or whatever they called them way back
when.
The
wrong way?
Yeah, I don't. Not then he didn't. Okay. I think he was headed the right direction on those, but I don't know. It was unprecedented what he did to have 2 sacks and 2 interceptions and a touchdown and another tackle for loss and the fumble forced and a partridge in a pear tree. I mean, he had a little bit of everything in that game.